name is Steve Fender. I'm from Fender's Fish Hatchery. The whole purpose of this video here is to help you decide how to stock your body of water. What I'm going to talk about here today is stocking rates, species that you can put in, the amount of fish you want to put in, and this is more towards brand new ponds or ponds that have been rebuilt and it's a new stocking of some sorts. Okay. The first two fish I recommend to anybody to stock a pond. If you don't put nothing in, but just put a couple fish in, your largemouth bass and your bluegill is the primary two fish you want to put in. You can put these two species in and they will counterbalance against each other and keep the population going for generation after generation after generation. If the pond is properly managed and winter kills are prevented and there's nothing to come in to disrupt this balance, these fish should reproduce and make new generations for years to come. Stocking rate on the bass and bluegill, we figure 100 bass to 200 bluegill per surface acre. Now most of the fish I talk about today is going to be in a 3 to 4 inch size. So you stock these two fish, you've got a balance. Now if you want some variety, we'll talk about yellow perch. Here again we're going to figure 100 perch per surface acre. The perch that we sell, the yellow perch, they will reproduce. Typically you don't see reproduction survival in your pond, so with ponds that are acre or less, so you will probably have to come back and buy some more perch on a periodic basis and restock. Now if you have a good food base, you feed your fish with pellets and you have plenty of structure in your pond so the perch have somewhere to hide, you could see reproduction survival on those. Now the other fish you're going to see is very similar in that aspect is the black crappie. We figure here again 100 black crappie per acre. Crappie will get very large. I've seen them up to 16, 17, 18 inches in size. Good eating fish, as long as you eat them when the water is cold. They will reproduce. They reproduce with the bluegill, but only once a year. So whatever spawns in the spring, they'll come back and spawn again the next spring. We figure 100 per acre on those. Another great fish put in is channel cat. If you like to eat catfish and you like to catch them, you like to feed them, by all means put them in. If you don't figure on ever catching any of them out or feeding, I don't recommend putting catfish in because they get very large, they grow fast, they eat a lot of bluegill and they can push your bass back. But that being said, like I said earlier, if you feed and you harvest, they're great fish to put in and it's one of the best eating fish you can put in there. You start off with a 4 to 6 inch catfish within one summer, you're pushing 15, 16 inches, close to pound, pound and a quarter. 2 years, you got over 2 pound fish that you can start harvesting. So very quick return. Another fish that I'd recommend is shellcracker, also called red-eared sunfish. They call them red-eared sunfish because they have a red ear flap and a yellow breast. And then they call them shellcracker because they eat snails. Now the great thing about this is your snail is a parasite carrier. These are little black specks you see in the fish that when you fillet them it leaves a worm. Now by having a shellcracker population in your pond, your snails are not as prolific and the shellcracker are going to keep them pushed back so you don't have the parasite problem near as noticeably. Another fish that you could consider putting in if you like to eat bluegill and you like to have an aggressive type fish to catch in the bluegill family are the hybrid bluegill. And with the hybrid bluegill, you stock 100 to the acre. I tell my customers that stock the hybrids kind of like you would want to, however many you want to pull out. If you want to catch 100 hybrids a year, you need to stock 100 a year. If you want more than that, then you need to put more than that in and you can feed them. If you get the feeding hard, you can put as many in as you want to. A hybrid bluegill is a cross between a green sunfish and a bluegill. And when you cross these two fish, you end up with a fish that gets very large. In 3 years, you got pound plus fish up to 11, 12 inches in size. They bite on a worm very aggressive. They grow very fast. Just a very good eating fish to put in. Now, being it is a cross between two different fish, as these fish lightly reproduce, they start to revert back to the parent fish. So over time, you lose that hybrid effect that you're looking for. So that's something you need to restock occasionally also. So you can figure 100 of those too. Now, another fish we like to stock in brand new ponds to give them a boost are fathead minnows. And I have a lot of customers come back every spring and every fall to stock more fathead minnows because they want to try to promote the growth in their pond as much as they can. And the fathead minnows, they're feeder fish. They don't get over about 1.5 inches in size. They reproduce very prolifically, but being they're at the bottom of the food scale, eventually they get all consumed and they're gone. So you'll probably never establish a minnow population in your pond. Now, this next fish I'm going to talk about is white AMUR, or grass carp is slang. This is a fish that if you're not in the state of Ohio and you're viewing this video, you want to check with your Department of Natural Resources or game warden and ask them if they are legal in your part of the country. The white AMUR was legalized in 1987 in the state of Ohio. The fish we sell are all sterile fish. They cannot reproduce. They get very large. We put them in to control the vegetation. This is a great alternative to using the chemicals to control the vegetation. Pretty much every pond will grow algae, root and vegetation of some kind. And with the AMURs, you can put these guys in there. They'll eat the vegetation and control it for you. We stock at a rate of 8 to 12 per surface acre. Every pond's different. I've seen some ponds 5 to the acre do it. I've seen some ponds take 25 to the acre. Depth, fertility, location, all these things you have to factor in when you start stocking white AMUR. Growth rate is fantastic. We sell, this is the one exception to that 3 to 4 inch size I was saying earlier. We sell fish here, it's about 10, 12 inches in size. If you stock them in the spring of the year till in the summer, they'll be pushing 20 to 24 inches, 3 to 4 pounds in size, up to maybe even 5. The next year they'll weigh 10, the next year weigh 15. They grow very rapidly, they get very large. I've had customers tell anything from 40 to 50 pounds in size, 40 to 50 inches in length. They get very large, but that's why they do such a good job to control your vegetation. So, and longevity, we're looking at a fish that after the first 3 years, they start to really control well, and then from that point on, you can figure out you're going to have good control for the next 12, 14, 15 years. A couple little points that I can give you that will help your pond do well. Aeration is a real plus. We sell aeration systems as far as surface aeration and bottom aeration. The other thing that is a real plus, put plenty of brush and cover in your pond. If you have a pond that's completely barren, your reproduction survival is not going to be very good. If you brush it up, putting brush piles in, 2 to 6 feet of water, several different locations around your pond, that's going to give you more cover, so when your little fish hatch out, they're going to have somewhere to hide so they can come on to be the next generation, or when they get eaten, they're a little bit bigger than just a little tiny gnat-sized thing. The other thing that's a real benefit is if you get the feed in pellets. We use Aqua Max from Purina. It's a very high protein pellet. Any feed that you use, whether it's Purina or any other brand, what you want to look for is a high protein. Ours is a 41% protein, and it's about 1/8 inch in size. That's two very important factors. A lot of customers make a mistake of buying cheap feed and too big of a pellet. Your bluegill is a fish you want to really target to feed, because your bluegill spawns all summer long. They're always making feed, so that's the fish you want to feed. If they got lots to eat, they grow faster, they produce more eggs, they make more offspring. And the other thing, bluegill will eat a certain amount of largemouth bass fry, so by feeding your bluegill, they don't eat as many bass, so here again your bass population gets larger. So by feeding pellets, your overall dynamics of the pond change. You have a larger population of big fish and little fish, so by feeding pellets, it's a real plus. Your bluegill and catfish will go to pellets by nature. Your bass and perch typically will not feed on pellets unless they've been feed trained as fingerling. And of course the hybrids will feed on them very well too. And of course the AMURs will come up and eat too, but don't be too worried about that, because they still will consume your vegetation, hold things back for you that way. So, and also when you get into stocking ponds that are established, give us a call at the hatchery. You can find us on the website, Fender's Fish Hatchery. Just Google Fender's Fish Hatchery, it'll bring it right up. And you can call me on my cell number, and we'll try to talk you through all this and get you stocked in the right way so you can have a successful pond.